Hello everyone and welcome to the live. I am finally here. I'm just getting into the actual live that I wanted to do. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I got a little bit just kiddo trapped, just getting everything sorted out. So I think it's better to give them a little bit more cuddles than less cuddles, because that's just nice for all of us. Alright, so we should be good now, and you can see the machine pretty good. So I've got the phone actually in the point of view harness, which you can kind of see in that small preview from the MacBook. And I'm going to turn, for some reason it needs to be turned up. Well, it's probably just me, I need to sit up. Yeah, there we go, that's better. Okay. Still learning curves with this. Alright. Gotta switch the thread here because we're gonna sew everything with white thread so far. Black thread's used for like stitching in some of the darker parts, so I'll use it to stitch on the black canvas and like top stitch basically. So let's just get this threaded here, and I figured the POV was the best way to do this one today because honestly, I don't know if the jiggling from the POV is better than the jiggling when it's in like the gooseneck or what. I need to get some sort of like I need to almost like be able to tie this across my front or something like that. I don't know yet. When I was in Japan and taking the point of view video in tomato fabrics, I actually clipped it in with my backpack and that worked superbly. I was so pleased with that. It was nuts. Alright, I'm getting everything. Oops. I would say normally that they could those scissors could stay down there, but I need them just because there's a little bit of a fray on the end of this thread. Oh, this is a mess. Okay, I think I'm gonna pop the camera into the POV, like the over desk view, just because I'm going to be moving a lot tonight. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm not gonna mute my mic. I'm just going to I'm just gonna swap the camera out. Of course, the clamp on that clipped my thumb. Hopefully that doesn't give me a blister. Alright, so I'm pretty sure that the camera setup that I have set up here is good enough for what we need to do tonight. Maybe what I'll do is I'm gonna put it like, if I can get it right down against my machine, that would be fun. I just want to show you guys something different tonight instead of like always being in the same kind of position. Okay. Yes, I would like to join. Please don't hit the like off button like that. Thank you. Okay. Join. Mute. Mute the mic on the phone. Okay, there we go. I think we're good. Live. We need to get the webcam back up. Oh yeah, that's a pretty sweet view. Nice. Okay, so that's like showing right on my actual like, oh, I don't like that one. I like this overlay better. There we go. Transition. Because now this overlay actually has a little ticker thing along, except for the viewer count needs to come down right beside my webcam video here. There we go. Just transition that. Alright, now we're good to go. Now you're not like wiggling and jiggling all over the place like it was in the harness, because yeah, that was probably going to give someone motion sickness eventually. Hi! I'm glad you found me. I'm just prepping the machine to actually start sewing. But I didn't want to be later coming on stream either because, well, realistically I can talk through threading the machine, thankfully, at this point. Getting the bobbin thread in through the winder. Don't need to wind a bobbin right now, I don't think, but I do need to swap it because we're swapping from black to white thread right now. Okay, so that one's full, and then this guy doesn't have enough worth mentioning. Okay. Yeah. I played that game the other day and I lost. I still need to actually thread the needle. Yeah, so I saw your comment actually on the one from Tokyo. So for me to purchase Japanese fabrics, I did originally purchase from an Etsy seller, so I was importing from an Etsy seller. They were in Yokohama, so it was like fabric direct from Japan, all of that, legit. But my husband and I, we went for his first trip in 2016, and it is 40% cheaper for me to go purchase my fabrics in Japan versus me importing it through like a middleman. Now, if I were actually to do like wholesale fabrics and stuff like that, I bet you it would still be cheaper again. But the thing about it is that I can't use 15 meters of fabric in any kind of timely fashion. So I'm working in like 2 to 3 yard amounts typically, unless it's something specifically earmarked for a kit or club or something like that. So. But yes, I am jealous of myself from May, because seriously, those trips are the absolute best. What I'm working on tonight is I've got large box bags to do for Knit City Vancouver, as well as a wholesale order, so we're working on getting, well, first steps first is we're going to do the handles that I matched up interfacing with today, and then we'll be going in and doing zipper sewing. I don't know with this new mic how much of the machine you can actually hear. I've been experimenting with it. The lav mic you could actually, it was fine, but you know, new equipment and I'm still learning. So 40%, so including my flights and my hotels and my food and buying the fabric in Japan. So all of the expenses like associated, besides my vacation time, if I take vacation time while I'm there, I don't write that into my expenses. But that comes out to basically buying good quality quilt cotton in Japan, the costs associated with the fabric come up to the same costs as purchasing good quilt quality cotton in Canada from like a retail store. That makes sense. And that is 40% cheaper than what I was paying to import it through the Etsy seller, because it was working out like between shipping and paying the middleman basically, because that's what I was doing. It was working out to about $40 a meter. And granted, some people will pay that, but I was not in a position to experiment with that, and it wouldn't have been a very sustainable model for me. Oh yeah. That scream is what I was thinking at the same time. It was good for the first bit, but I guess you may not have heard the whole spiel. So originally when I started making project bags, I was one of the only makers in Alberta. There was other makers in Canada and the US. And like, at least that I was aware of, I was one of the few. I think there was maybe 2 or 3 of us, and we all had very different styles, so it was fine. But then more makers came on the market, we started to have overlapping styles, all of that, and I went, okay, so I can't find very good cat fabric in Canada, and like all of our bags just looked like they were fabric from Fabricland, which is what it was. Or Walmart or wherever, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they were all starting to look the same. I'm like, okay, so I need cute cat fabrics, and where do I think might have cute cat fabrics? And of course Japan came up, because I'd been an exchange student there during university. And so that's how I started on it, and I didn't think that, like, we planned to go back. My husband and I planned to go, and we lucked out on a really good deal on flights in 2016, and then by that point I was making the project bags, and I'm like, okay, when we're in Japan, I need to actually see how much fabric here costs, and if it would end up being cheaper to actually like come over, pick it out ourselves, and then import it as like hand carry. And yeah, it worked out. The other the other benefit to this being that like I can go over and I'm not looking at colors, and I'm not feeling textures and like weights. Like you can't, there's no way to communicate that through a computer screen. So there's that benefit as well. As like the tactile experience of it is way better than trying to shop through a computer screen. Now with lots of the fabrics that I've actually already selected and like Coca or Cosmo or Quiltgate, now I know the quality of the fabric. It would be easier at this point. But the problem that I'm running to now is like, yeah, I'm in that medium place where I don't need the 15-meter bolts, so I can't buy wholesale. And the import costs to purchase it from someone else that brings it in are just as restrictive as they were before. Hey, it's a pretty awesome vacation. And the cool thing is like I still got friends there. I have a shop in Osaka that carries the bags and like some of the accessories, so I get to go visit her now. Next time apparently we're supposed to go for ramen. This last trip in May was 2 weeks, which was like really nice because I did a mad dash in November, which was 4.5 days on the ground. Do not recommend it, but it was end of show season and I desperately needed fabric because I hadn't been back to Japan for 4.5 years. And so my shelves were looking extremely bare. And it was like, because it wasn't super busy, the hotels were super cheap. Like I got to stay in Tokyo for $90 a night, which is unheard of unless you're in a really, really scuzzy place. I'm not going to qualify the place that I stayed at as like high end, but it was like placed so well. It was like, what was it, like a 5-minute walk to Akihabara Station, which is their big like electronics district. And so super easy to get on the train, to get to like fabric, all of that. And then in May, I went with a friend who's never been before, and we've been talking for years and years and years about doing this trip, and we finally went, fuck it, basically. Sorry. I usually don't swear in my lives, but oh well. Anyway, that's what we said, basically, and we're like, let's do this, because the time is never going to get better, really. So the fabrics that I'm working through right now are overall fabrics from November because I haven't had a chance to even touch my May fabrics yet. But that'll happen. It's not like the fabrics are going to go bad, at least not in the time frame that I'm working with them on. Yeah. So I hit up 2 main shops typically. I go to Tomato in Tokyo. It's a Nippori fabric, textile town. And then I go to one in Kyoto. Actually, I go to 2 in Kyoto now, so it's a 2-branch shop. There's Noma Tailor, and then there's Noma Tailor House. And so in May, I actually got to go to Noma Tailor House for the first time, and it was really good. I'm really happy that I went and explored it. So, I used to have a really cool shop in Osaka, but it closed in, I think, late 2020. But it used to have it was a pneumatic tube system. So fabric shopping in Japan has been extremely different for me. Every single shop has a different system. So this shop was pneumatic tube system. You'd go around, you'd select your fabrics as normal, but they would only have samples out all over the place. So once you had selected your fabrics, you flag down a salesperson, and you this is the pneumatic tube shop in Osaka. It no longer exists, but it's still a really good story. But so you would flag down the salesperson, and they would actually cut a little sample off of each fabric that you want, and they would write down the amount that you wanted from the fabric. And then when they're all done, they would stuff all these clips into the actual pneumatic tube capsule and send it up the pneumatic tube to their cutting floors. So it depends on the trip. So because I don't ship any of it home, because that kind of defeats the purpose of it adds the expense that I don't want to pay, and so I end up buying, what was November I paid for an extra bag, so that's 70 pounds plus 2 50-pound bags, and that's all fabric, and then there's a few extra meters outside of that. So 170 pounds, it's about 2 meters per pound. So it was something like 340 meters probably. That sounds excessive, but it's about right. 340, yeah, 340 meters. Give or take, probably, I don't know, 10%? No, not that much, maybe 5%. So that was me being very thrifty with what I packed in my carry-on so that I could carry home as much as I could as well. And then in May, it was a little bit more than that. I know it's a lot of fabric, but the benefit, like, I gotta make the trip as cost effective as possible. Because it's still not a cheap endeavor. It's just cheaper than what I was doing before. So, and obviously the more that I can bring home, the cheaper that makes the fabric overall. Yeah, in May, I don't even know how much I brought home in May, to be honest. I do know now. So there's when you're in Japan, you should ship, if you ever go, you should ship your luggage around. There's a system called Takubin, Kuroneko Yamato. It's a little black cat company. Well, it's a huge transport company. It's like Japan FedEx on steroids, basically. But they'll do luggage shipment. So right at the airport, you can actually drop your luggage off and they'll ship it off to your hotel. Now, there's a delay. So, like, typically if I'm flying and staying in Tokyo, I take my luggage with me because you just get on the express train from the airport and you go downtown. No big deal. Although if you have to get on, like, a lot of the local lines or something like that, then your, like, massive overseas luggage does start to get in the way. But, like, if you're traveling down to Kyoto and Tokyo, or, like, Kyoto to Tokyo or whatever, if you're, like, passing between spots, it's super useful because you're able to, like, ship your luggage and then just pick it up. So when I bought fabric in Kyoto, we were planning that I would fill a 50-pound bag and I would fill my 70-pound bag, which is 32 kilos. But the weight limit for Kuroneko is 30 kilos, which is good to know in the future. So what we did is we just pulled like 2 kilos of fabric out of the bag. The poor hotel concierge, though, she was like struggling so hard with the bag. It's just like, I can help you with it. It's not a big deal. I did shock the two guys in Tokyo because it's like I've got a massive like 10-day backpack, or like I think it's 70-liter total backpack, and I only use it for fabric. That's what I use it for, because then I can pack it full of fabric and get on the trains a little bit easier than trying to wrestle luggage around. And so they cut all my fabric in tomato and it was all good. And okay, this one's a little bit short, so I'm just gonna shuffle it this way. That's fine. I usually have extra fabric for the handles inside the bag anyway. Yeah, so anyway, I was packed all like 50 pounds of fabric into this backpack and then like hefted it up, and it's kind of like, well, it's not fun. I don't want to do it every day, but it's a lot lighter than the toddlers and having to carry them up and down the stairs. And it was totally worth it for the shocked look on their faces. Although the CBSA agent was even better. So of course, the last couple trips I've flown through Vancouver, and so coming back up, I always declare that I've got commercial goods, because being an upright citizen. But every single time I've gotten a different answer about what you're actually supposed to do about it and all of this. They don't know. At least this time he basically just sent me through because he didn't want to deal with me. Which, it's kind of like getting the postal, skipping the customs and GST charge on your customs order, or like your cross-border orders. But yeah, I told him how much I was bringing home in fabric, and his eyes actually bugged out. I was quite proud that I was able to have that sort of reaction. But it's like every single time I've gone to like border service agency, it's like, one in Calgary was like, well, do you want to pay it? And I'm like, well, if I need to. I don't really want to pay the GST. I'll just get it back at the end of the year. because it's like on that trip it was like $75 of GST basically, I think, or something like that, because that's what you pay on fabric when you're importing it. It's just GST. And she's like, well, I'll just go through that. And I'm like, sweet, thanks. The other time I went to the first time I went through Vancouver, it was like, she was like, well, you can only carry this much through, and if you're over that, then you're gonna have to go through the like fancy commercial office, and we can't do this for you again. And then it's like, I don't know, I haven't had any problems since November. They want me to pay. I'm like, okay, I can pay. That's what I'm here to do. I am prepared. Calgary is the best one to deal with customs agents, though. So far, the best story I still have is from our first trip, and we went to a cat cafe that they had. So they're widely available in North America now. It's the Trudeau sticks. As I keep calling them with the toddlers, it's the cat yogurt sticks, because they understand the yogurt tubes. But I'm like, but those are for the cats. Don't eat them yourself, please. Well, I guess they probably could eat them, but they'd be pretty grossed out. I would be extremely grossed out. I would probably be more grossed out than the kids. Anyway, they weren't widely available here, so we picked some up because, hey, we knew that the cats would love these cat yogurt tubes. And my poor husband, he went into Japan assuming, because his prior experience with Asia was that everyone spoke English. And he went to Japan assuming everyone would speak some level of English, which it's getting better, but in 2016, 7 years ago, it was not the case, especially in the areas that we were staying in, because we went back and we stayed in the city where I was actually an exchange student. So it's a little bit more out of the like main centers, and just even with the international university, not as many English speakers, and that's fine. But I said, okay, like, you haven't talked for basically a month, and so go ahead and do customs. And he's a natural mumbler. So we had these cat yogurt tubes, cat meat tubes, and I gotta stop sewing and actually tell this story. So we declared that we had meat products because it's fish, and border agent asks, what meat products are you bringing in? And my husband mumbles something about cats. And the border agent gave us this most horrified look. And then he handed us back our customs card and was like, welcome back to Canada. Completely, like, yeah, look a little bit shooken up. And then I like look at our actual customs card, and he's written in, oh, right, he's like, what are you bringing back? My husband muttered something about cats, and then he's like, where are you coming from? And we're like, Japan. That's what it was, right? I knew there was something in between that. So anyway, I get our border customs card back, and in great big Sharpie capital letters, it says for cat, like, what the meat is it's cat meat. So I'm sure this guy had like 6 cats at home, and he's absolutely horrified at the idea that we have brought cat meat back from Japan. So I look at my husband, and I look at the card, and I go, I'm talking to the next customs agent. Because it's just like, it's not cat meat. We pick up our bags, and we get to the next customs agent, who has his big Tim's in his hand. He sets his Tim's cups down and takes our customs card, and he goes, what do you have? And I'm like, it's tuna for our cats. And he looks at me, and he goes, oh my god, go through. Completely ignored the fact that we were over our duty free, which is awesome. But it's just like, it's just one of those stories of like, you would never think that that's how that would go down. So we got our cat tubes in to feed our cats. They were quite pleased with them, and now they're very widely available in Canada, and I never have to do that again. At least not for a very long time. Oh, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I swear that first border agent was completely horrified, and totally justified too. I think you were importing cat meat. probably had like 6 cats at home or something like that. That's the story I tell myself. That's my headcanon about this border services agent who I've never seen again. And so he's a complete cat lover, and he was just absolutely horrified that we're bringing cat meat in. Total misunderstanding. Yeah, this cat cafe was really cool too, because most of the cat cafes in Japan are purebreds only. It's actually how I first met a Norwegian forest cat, and that's why we have Flynn, the great big giant orange floof, is because I had wanted a Norwegian forest cat since I met Olive, that was their name, in Tokyo. The Norwegian forest cats are basically the granddads of like Maine Coons, and I find that they don't seem like they look like they go as mangy in the back end when they're older. So like they just keep their shape better from what I can tell. Anyway, that might be, I might have to go upstairs because one of the little ones is a little bit upset. Just gotta listen for a little longer. Anyway, the cat cafe though in Kyoto was really interesting, and that was the one we did on the trip with my husband with the cat tubes, because it was actually street cats and all adopted cats from like shelters in Japan, in Kyoto. Alright, I gotta be right back. My youngest is just having a bit of a cry, and I'll go check on them. Looking good. Transition this back. Yeah, so it was really cool because the cat cafe in Kyoto, I'll pick right back up from where I was before, was all like strays from shelters in Kyoto, from what I understood of like their explanation on their Instagram afterwards and stuff. So that's really cool because like it's not something that's done normally. You have 2 cats. Yeah, we've got, right now we have 2. We used to have 3. Are like my best cat. So one of my, like, just one of those ones that you connect with. passed very suddenly last year. Thinking probably a heart attack, just because of just how quickly it happened. But we still have Flynn and we still have Dahlia. Dahlia is one of the original 2 that we adopted, and then Flynn came in later. And that is enough. In the case of the one in Kyoto, no, they were permanent residents of the Cat Cafe. So they had already adopted, and that's where they stayed. They did close down over the pandemic. Obviously, it's a very tourist-driven, like where they were located is, if you've ever seen Memoirs of a Geisha with all the like red torii gates, it was located right outside of that shrine. So that would have been extremely tourist-driven. But it's not like Cat Cafe in Calgary. Like, was it Royal Cat Cafe, I think? Nothing like that. So, and honestly, I think that's kind of I think it might be better because then at least they're in like one location. They've already gone through enough stress in the shelters wherever they were before. Oh no! Do they think it's like, because I know you've been having issues most of the summer, right? Or has this been fairly sudden? Hopefully it's like not both your cats having issues. We have nothing like that happening, but my cat did end up getting into my diabetic medication. Flynn got up on the counter, and my other chaos critters, which are my kids, distracted me. I set down one of my diabetic medications. The cat ate part of it. And so that was 3 nights in the emergency vet, which was good. He did end up actually having eaten part of the medication, so they basically had to keep him out of hypoglycemia. It was nuts. Oh, and it's in her leg, really? Jeez. And they think that that's gonna like, so basically they're gonna amputate the leg to like isolate the cancer is what they're thinking. This is gonna be a very interesting conversation for people to come into. I hope I have live chat replay on just so they have a little bit of context about what's going on. We are talking about a cat. Sociopath is another maker out of Lethbridge, actually. You work mostly with embroidery, correct? At least that's my encounters with you. She makes, I purchased ear holders from you for Disney World. You should check out her Instagram because that is a good place to be. And, or TikTok, that's how I encountered you first. And obviously, she has some vet bills to pay. So you should go buy some stuff from her. Vaccine. Huh. That is wild. So is it one of the back legs or it's one of the front legs? You'll have a tripod, kitty. They, at least, as terrible as it sounds, I feel like cats adapt to it really easily. Well, not easily. They seem to adapt to it well. She's gonna have to get like physiotherapy or something like that after they actually amputate it, or no, I'm just sorry. If you don't want to answer any of these questions, you don't have to. I'm just personally morbidly curious. Back leg. Yeah, I think I've heard sometimes the rabies vaccine can do that. I think there's a new type that's supposed to reduce the chances of it, but it's like so rare that the cost sometimes is the difference as well. Well, hopefully she does. Hopefully it's a quick, well, I can't imagine that losing a limb is a quick recovery, but really? You're gonna amputate her leg and she just has to wear a comb for 2 weeks. Holy crap. Can you imagine? For us? That would be like, well, that's good. But like, imagine getting your leg cut off and only having to like, I don't know, what would even be the human equivalent to that? But like only 2 weeks of recovery? That's insane. It's good that the vaccine company is paying for it, but still, like, ugh, I don't know. Go buy stuff from Sociopath for stress damage reasons. No, that's true. We don't adapt to change well. Especially, granted, they're, like, I guess in, like, the percentage-wise, it's the same amount of structure. But, like, there's a lot more to take off when you take off a leg from a human, so. Although it is interesting that we can, like, cats can adapt that well. Yeah, humans can't adapt to things well. No, we really can't. Your wine bill. There we go. My husband and I were going to do a dry. What were we gonna do? We're gonna do a dry August to do to Knit City because I did not want to like. I wanted to be able to have the option to drink in Knit City because it's a social event. Blah blah blah. We made it 2.5 weeks because I was like, this is so dumb. Why did we both agree to doing dry when we can go sit out on our deck with a beer in like the summertime? So that failed pretty fast. And now we're back to, we agreed that we weren't over drinking, but we did agree because we're trying to like get in shape for the Disney Dopey Challenge, which runs in January. And we both need to lose a little bit of weight before that, so we agreed that we'll drop the amount we're going to drink, so like 1 drink a day instead of multiples. But yeah, it was just like, this is such a bad idea to try and do this in the summertime. So we'll go back to it. I think we are going to do it when it like gets, basically once it gets too cold to sit out on our deck, we'll do the last couple months of the year dry, which is fine. One of those summers too where it's just like a drink after a day with the kids, it will be is amazing. I have a tall boy Asahi sitting in the fridge for myself right now. Super excited. So once I'm done my work, I can go upstairs and drink it, hopefully before the kids get out of bed. We'll see how late I sew tonight. Yeah, I figured 2.5 weeks is still better than nothing at least, so. Do what works for you. But when you already are like, have so many things on your plate with like the business and stuff like that, that also makes sense because it's like there's only so many, as it's been referred to, spoons that you can distribute for the day, right? So. All of these get sewn this way because I have tried to sew them like a bias tape fold over, and it did not look good at all. I don't know if I didn't press them enough or what, but it was just bad. I probably just need more practice, but given that this is fairly quick and realistically it produces a better product, it's where we're stuck at. Anyway, long story short is that after this I take my tube turners, turn them, and then they get pressed or ironed and top stitched. Yeah, it was an attempt at least. I'm already daydreaming about the like drinks that I'm gonna have down at Disney after our runs. Just terrible. But the resort we're staying at has a tiki bar. And it's all like rum drinks and delicious. I just gotta grab some shears. Yeah, so anyway, so they've got like a tiki bar on site, and they have amazing drinks, and they're all themed, so it's like you go, because of course it's Disney, Polynesian resort. The only way we afford that resort is we own timeshare down there. So, if you go and look at the room prices and get a little bit sticker shock, yes, we do as well. But, their tiki bar is to die for and is open to guests whether you're staying on site or not. They've got a version down at Disneyland as well. It's the Trader Sam's. I think it's Grog Grotto at Disney World and something else at Disneyland. But it's a whole themed bar, and then when you order certain drinks, that like has a whole show when they bring out the drink and everything like that. So it's a really cool experience bar as well. One at Disneyland. The bartender's name was Melissa. I remember because I remembered reading her tag off when we were talking about this actually. Styles is like, that's my husband. He's like, I don't know if I've actually ever seen you smashed. And I'm like, yep. It's the closest I have ever been to like smashed would have been at Disneyland of all places. I don't know if I'm actually proud of I know, I am proud of that in some ways. Anyway, one of the people ordered a special drink, and I can't even remember what the special effect was, but like there's a ship in a bottle behind the bar, and something happened to the ship. And I remember shouting at Melissa, the bartender, about the ship. It wasn't anything belligerent. It was all in good fun. She played right back, so that was awesome. Like, it was all good. I didn't get kicked out because she obviously didn't think that I was too drunk, so that's also a win. But I do think I made an impression because we got carded that night, and then 2 nights later when we went back in for more drinks, we did not get ID'd. So I guess I made a good impression at least, but it was definitely a drunk impression if she could remember me out of all the guests that had been there over the like days since. Oh well, good stories to tell. Better stories than like I got drunk on BSD at the University of Calgary because it was the end of the school year. Although some of those stories are probably pretty epic too, to be honest. I don't know. I always worked BSD because I worked the university theaters for their dance competition because they always need lots of people to work dance competitions. Absolute worst time of year to have dance competition at a university because everyone was taking exams, and university theater is connected to like one of the main exam halls for the languages. So you have all these girls and boys in these like tap shoes. Like, they were pretty good, but you would have to go through and tell them to quiet down when they were getting too like loud while they were talking or something like that. That was the main one. Is it's just like you gotta chill on the talking because people are taking exams. Thing actually that like I never really partook in before because so when we've done Disney in the past, like before kids, we always would go just in the parks pretty much. Basically the hotel room was a place to put your head to sleep. That's it. But last trip we actually hung out around like the pool and stuff quite a bit, and there is bar service right at the pool and like food service right at the pool, which is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that already as well. Dopey Challenge, which is the runs that we're training for right now, is a 5, a 10, a half, and a full marathon all in 4 days. 48.6 miles in 4 days. And it's terrifying because I've never run a half and I've never run a full marathon yet. I ran 11 miles the other day and I started questioning my life around mile 8. My life and my life choices. Looking at it now and starting to train for it, I do wish I had given myself like 1 more year, because I've just started feeling like myself after having kids, I think one more year to just ease myself back into training personally would have probably benefited me quite a bit. But I'm here now. I'm signed up. We'll see where we go. I've got this week's the light week of running, and then next week I do actually run so it's supposed to run 13 miles. Half marathon is 13.1 miles. I'm pretty sure I'll just go run a 13.1 mile training run, because it's like, once you've done 13 miles, what's the point of leaving 0.1 of a mile off, basically? Yeah, I didn't think there's any way I would be able to do it either, but here I am. The 5 and the 10 are not going to be any big deal. I consistently run 10Ks right now, and my training runs are like, today I went and ran 4 kilometers in like 38 minutes. I'm not worried about the 5 and the 10K. And actually, in some ways, I'm not worried about the half either. What I am worried about is running a full marathon the day after having run 3 other races, the stack up from that, the day after having run a half. But I keep hearing from people where they're like, that was my first marathon. I'm like, okay, well, we'll try. The biggest concern right now is the fact that it's like, you have to be under a certain time limit, and I'm pretty sure this is true of all pretty much races and marathons, so that you have to be through at a certain point. But with Disney, you really have to be through, because they're basically like, you're running through the parks, so you have to be in and out of the parks with the full marathon before the parks open for the day. Apparently there's some sort of like balloon ladies, and they follow you because they just walk the course, and I'm like right at the bottom of like the pace that I can have to actually not get just picked up. So I'm like, oh, my pace needs to improve by at least 30 more seconds before I feel any sort of comfort that I'll be able to do the marathon. It's also, though, it's been good that it's been so hot this summer in some ways, because we'll be running in Florida in January, so it's not going to be like, well, basically they've said, or what I've read from like reviews and like tips for runners for this, is it basically can be anywhere from like freezing up to like 20. So the good thing is that we have been training in 20-degree weather. It definitely slows us down once it passes the 20 threshold. That's probably like the upper limit. So if that's what the forecast is, I think what we'll do is we'll make sure that we do more of our higher intensity pace earlier in the race, which obviously will tire us out, but like, that'll be better than trying to keep up a higher intensity pace towards the end of the race to finish. At least that's the theory that I'm going with. Who knows if that'll actually be how it works. That one I feel like I didn't actually catch the full edge on the back. No, I did. Okay, sweet. But yeah, I'm excited to do it. Kinda. I'm also terrified, which is a good motivator to like keep training. After I'm done Knit City prep though, so like in October I need to actually get going on more weight training, because that I think is more what's going to hold me back, and it's also what's going to help improve my oxygen usage, hopefully. So it's like, it should increase my pace just for the fact that my muscles are more efficient because they're bigger, hopefully. I've also been seeing a physio for some plantar fasciitis, which today hasn't been hurting pretty much at all. So that's awesome, because that was a big concern. Now we'll see how it does after running the training run, but I've got strategies now for like how to deal with it. So that's nice too. This bunny fabric is adorable. Oh, I guess I could actually show the camera down here a little bit better. My phone has really not liked live streaming recently. But I wonder if I need to turn the latency back up a bit. That might help. I'll do that after the stream is over though, because I don't want to mess around with settings right now. Okay, I'm gonna finish the handles. Have have a drink of water, and then we will get into sewing zippers into bags, because that's what everyone's here for tonight. Handles are just a bonus. I'm also able to tell funny stories during handles a lot easier than I can while sewing zippers in. I am also a zipper heretic. We will not be pinning nor clipping zippers in bags. I used to do that, and it just was like, I don't know, I'm able to sew them in just as well or even better. Okay, they come out, the percentage of errors is just as high as whether I pin or clip them as if I just freehand it, so I just freehand it at this point. Lavender canvas. Do you know of Tonitex in Quebec? I'll type it in the chat so that you've got the correct spelling of it, because that's Tonitex, something like that. I know at the beginning it was like everything had to be pinned or clipped. There, try them. They might have lavender. That's who I use as a canvas supplier. I don't know about lavender. The other supplier I use definitely doesn't have lavender. So they've got like they don't even have gray. They've got like natural, navy, brown, like a copper brown, and something else. Yes, most of these I could probably do in my sleep as well. I've added a few new things this summer though, where it's like I was sewing wallets and I was live streaming, which is usually fine, but nope, not with these wallets. So they're the upcycled obi and kimono wallets, and they were fighting me so hard, backstitch, that I actually had to stop streaming with them, and I don't even know if I recorded it or if I just sat down and sewed, but it was like seam rippers had to be brought out, and then I had to seam rip again, and then they were rough. So I think I just need a bit more practice. I think I also need a little bit easier fabric. And obi, yeah, we do make the same glasses case, but that's also why I went with the Japanese fabrics, is because now I don't match. I don't think your fabrics though also had, like, even compared to what I was using before, we didn't have the same fabrics, like in the same lines and stuff like that. So, but yes, I love that pattern. I've been, like, people have been requesting glasses cases from me for years, and the problem is that all the glasses cases that I saw they didn't match the style I wanted. So I was so happy when I saw that actual style. That was the live streams a few weeks ago before Baaad City, as I went through and I made a crap ton of glasses cases. Yeah, well. Aw, that sucks. Honestly though, I don't have much place to like say much because I haven't knit much in the last year, and that's technically my hobby. Seems like your embroidery machines like take up a lot of time. Which is also interesting because it feels, I don't know. I was totally being nosy yesterday because I think my neighbor 2 doors up actually got an embroidery machine, and there's been a few more clues that I remembered that I think make me think very much that they got an embroidery machine. So part of it was that they did a bunch of work to get some stuff cleared out of the garage, and then yesterday they had like 8 big wooden crates on their driveway. Like I said, this is like just me being nosy. I really want to find out though, because I wouldn't think too much of the big 8 crates, but one of the crates included a magnifying lamp, and I'm like, how many like things need specifically a magnifying lamp? So if I see them out in the next little bit, I'm totally going to ask them if they got an embroidery machine or not. Mostly because I'm curious, because it's like, it would be cool if there's another fiber artist like just up the road. Yeah, so I actually how this all came about is I actually used to knit to try to sell. That doesn't go very well. People don't like, people don't like paying for knitting. At least the prices that you have to charge to actually make anything at it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna unplug my phone. The chain piecing went behind the actual like desk and just went over the phone cord, and I know my phone needs to be plugged in to work. Right. So that was fine. Pull up. Anyway, I used to knit for work, and so it changed it from like being a hobby to a job, and I just didn't enjoy it because there was no good payoff for it, realistically. Yes. Are there any like fiber events done in Lethbridge? Or are the closest ones in Calgary? Okay. I gotta gather up all the handles. We have sewn all of them. Well, except for 2. I need interfacing for 2 more handles, but I did not feel like cutting it. I will cut the interfacing for the 2 missing handles when I do the small box bag cuts. Okay, and then I'll turn all of those later. That may or may not happen off screen because I've done a video of me doing it before, and it is actually very salacious. And that's not something I want to post to myself on the internet. Okay, I'll be right back just after a drink here. Yeah, I didn't know of any down in Lethbridge either. Hold on. What is there in Calgary right now? There's the Fiber Shindig that's in like the Fiber Shindig and Creekside are like the only 2 fiber events I know of right now that are in Calgary. The Making Backpack. I've seen that one on the like group. I haven't actually made one myself, but it looks gorgeous whenever I see a finished one. Okay. So here are our bags that we need to assemble. It looks like I've already misplaced some of the zippers, so oh well. They'll be around here somewhere, and I generally know what colors I selected for these earlier. So they get a layer of interfacing. The exterior, obviously, that's like the showpiece. And then they'll get a lining piece as well. So all the bags are fully lined on the interior and finished. So there are no raw edges. Alright, so there's the Sushi Cats. And I'm pretty sure Sushi Cats is getting lined in white. But yeah, I hear you about not sewing like enough, or like doing a hobby enough that you go into like the slumps and stuff like that, because basically right now it is work and kids, and that's it. Part of it is that my kids are still young enough that they use me as a jungle gym, and it's like, especially with my youngest, they've already gone in for stitches on their lip, which was not fun, and I'm really worried that like if I were to sit down and knit, because I use metal needles, that they would puncture themselves actually. Now, is that an intrusive thought? Probably. Is it a highly likely intrusive thought? Also yes. It's just like I don't trust them like I don't trust them around the knitting needles. Or the other side of it is that if I set it down for 2 seconds, they yank the cord out of it. So it's just like, it's a losing battle right now, and it makes it unrelaxing, which is not the point. Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that. The only thing that I do typically is that the deal with myself is that when I prototype stuff, I get the prototype. So typically I have a very small stash of like fabric that I really, really, really like, and I use it for that, for myself. Just check in to make sure I'm not missing it, like that the chat is actually pushing over to Streamlabs, and looks like it. It is interesting because YouTube is picking up the viewers, but Streamlabs is not. So curious. All right. So this is not the zipper tape one, so I'm just gonna lay this down, and then we do need a small ruler. I don't know why I didn't prepare myself better, but I did not tonight. That's just how this goes most nights. Yeah, okay. I think I know where my small ruler is. Tomorrow my deal with myself is that I'm tidying up my studio a little bit because it's getting a little bit too much. And when it's getting a little bit too much for me, that means it's very much time to tidy. Just squeezing in and out of this desk consistently. I'm like, ugh, I need to just make my pathways a little bit clearer. Which is a safety thing too. I don't need to trip and break my ankle again or something like that. That would be extremely annoying right now. Okay. So now some of these fabrics are going to need a good iron, but I will give them a good iron once I actually get them sewn together. What shelving did you buy from Costco? I've got one of their big baker shelves, and it's been super useful. Except that I just did a huge reorganization of my room, literally, and it's not quite as useful as it was before. I will find a use for it. I just don't know what it is yet. The huge reorganization that I'm talking about is the fact that we moved my cutting table in, so I'm down in the basement, and the basement was developed prior to us. Must have been developed by the actual developer. That's what it feels like. And so we were leaving the bedroom free because they were like, well, we might have guests that stay in it, and then we realized we're never gonna have guests, and if we have guests, we can still set up a bed down here, just in the open space instead of in the bedroom, sort of thing. All of that, blah blah blah. But now I've got this massive space, and it's in a couple of years I'll need it for other stuff, but for now I might be able to use it for, I don't know what I'll use it for. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. It's the big racks with the plastic bins on it, right? Either way, Costco storage is amazing. There we go. I do need to make sure that big crease does kind of stay out of the sewing line. Okay. There we go. Three boxes. Man, how many stockings did you order this year? Because you said you sold out last year, right? So that you're trying to prep this year for having enough, sort of thing. Last couple events I've been sell out, and also please don't sell out, because I think I have about 8 feet worth of stuff ready for Knit City, which I have a 20-foot booth, so 8 feet worth of bags is not enough. But if you see something in Knit City, please come by, because then I don't have to pack it back. The more I can condense down. Okay, sweet. So and at this point you have time still to order more if you do sell out of the 300. I guess it all depends. Realistically, that's not something you really could know, given just how shipping's been going. Although it does seem like it's improved a little bit. Can't believe we already have to be thinking about Christmas. Although at the same time, I'm like, I am knitting colorwork stockings right now. Well, I'm in the process of knitting colorwork stockings. Not actively right now, but they're like on the back burner basically until after Knit City. But I don't know where I finished at least one, and I can't remember if I finished two. And where the heck they would be right now, I don't actually know. So I've got to track them down. It's just like, no. I found the yarn for them at least the other day, which is good because I also didn't know where that had gone. So that's the zipper in. So what we do next is we turn the bag right side out, and then I'll top stitch it actually. This one has got to have an iron, so usually what I do is I go through and I will install all of the zippers, and then I'll turn them all right side out at the same time, and then I'll top stitch, or iron and top stitch, because yeah, that one's got a mighty big crease right at the front there that needs to be pressed out. Alright, now we'll do the other sushi neko. So these ones, I'm not doing duplicates for Knit City, but I am doing duplicates because Paula of Baaad Anna in Vancouver has ordered some duplicates. So that's, if you're seeing doubles, that's why. They will not be coming to Knit City though. Well, I'm like, that's a lie, but no, it's not, because I figured out that the back cuts of so basically what this is it's salvage to salvage cut. And the back cut of it will allow me to make the kato bag. So, oh, that's the wrong way. This needs to be right side to right side. Okay. Sushi neko and zipper tape, which has been super useful. I don't need to put the actual pull on yet, but I only have to use one side at a time. Ha! Right, Andrea? Oh, it's been so bad recently too. It's just like, I swear, I might have 2 brain cells left for after kids right now. I don't even know. I don't even know. Pretty sure those 2 brain cells actually might get shared with them. I'm not sure. But it's just like, yeah, I am glad that I found the yarn at least. So the stocking might be in there. I'm almost super curious to just get up and get the bag and look. But it might have also ended up in the Christmas box. Half my stuff is still up on the mantle actually from Christmas, so I don't know where the stocking went. So I'm hoping that past Katie was smart enough to at least put it in the Christmas box, because we didn't use whatever I finished last year because I was like, I'm not done. We're not using them until I'm done. So it might be in the Christmas box. Let's hope that that's where I put it, because this is actually a reknit. So the original pattern that I did were fingering weight stockings, and then I got bored basically, because the fingering weight is a lot of work, and the woman that had designed the colorwork stockings finally released like a worsted version. So I'm doing the worsted version now, but it's still kind of tedious. I love colorwork, but I do not like knitting it. I've had that monologue on the live stream the past few times, is that I'm a product person. I'm not a process person. Not that I don't like the process for a lot of stuff, right? Obviously, I have to enjoy it on some level. I just gotta make sure that selvage is far enough over. There we go. But like, I would much prefer to have the product than to actually doing the stuff to get the product. So it makes me a terrible cross stitcher. And embroiderer. Actually, I haven't tried embroidery. I've got like 2 embroidery kits right now. Hand embroidery kits. So we'll see. Those will happen. I Actually, that might be what I pick up instead of the knitting for a little bit. Just until I'm less of a jungle gym for the kids. I don't know when that happens, but when that happens, who knows, maybe by that point I'll love cross stitch and embroidery so much more. You are totally allowed to laugh at this, but the reason I got into knitting, actually you're encouraged to laugh at this. The reason I got into knitting is I was like, cross stitch has too much counting. That's actually what I said, or thought. Yeah, like I said, I highly encourage you to laugh at that sentiment, because there's no way that counted cross stitch has more counting than actual knitting. And as you witnessed, Andrea, the past few nights, my math skills, especially as it gets later, are not exactly the sharpest. Ugh, it's ridiculous. Okay, let's fold this back. Oh yeah. So part of this is like, and granted, this is actually the smarter part of that statement, is the fact that it is harder to count cross stitch when you're in a university class. So my knitting was much more portable into university classes. Now if I was hand embroidering, that probably actually would carry along a lot easier. And if I was like at a practice level, that would have been fine. But I wasn't, like, I've never embroidered in my life. So taking a cross stitch into class wouldn't have flown. Heck, my knitting flew with like 99.9% of my professors, and there was one who was just like, he was not adamantly against it, but you could tell it pissed him off every single time I was in class. And I'm like, dude, if I'm doodling in my notebook, I am not paying attention. And this was like just at the forefront, or maybe even before, a lot of conversations about like how knitting helps executive function for everyone. I don't think, well, who knows? My assumption is I am not on any spectrum of autism or ADHD, but I don't know. I've never been assessed. But like knitting and the bilateral movements of knitting are good for everyone's executive function. And I think that was starting to come into discussion at that point. I graduated university in 2012. So I was in university from 2007 to 2012. I don't know when this research was like really starting to come to the public knowledge, but I just knew it helped, and I knew if I was doodling in my notebook, I wasn't paying attention. Now, thankfully, I was in an English degree, so realistically, I was able to keep my hands busy because, like with knitting, because I wasn't doing a lot of note taking or anything like that. But yeah, that one professor was a piece of work as it was. He saw me at Home Depot afterwards, and because I'd gotten a cashier job, and he saw me, he's like, didn't you want an office job? And I'm like, yes, but this is what I have for now. That was the worst job. Please don't work for Home Depot if you don't have to. Like, if it's what's keeping you from like starving and it'll keep a roof over your head, work at Home Depot. But if you have any other option, please don't. It was like the most horrendous experience I've ever had. And not necessarily from actually the like other cashiers I was working with. They were all awesome. But just the people above, and then the customers, and it was just, I guess I kind of got spoiled because I never really worked a lot of retail jobs. So I worked at like, my summer job when I was in university was actually information counselor. So I worked at a chamber of commerce, and I gave out information, and that was a lot of fun. And if I had to pick a trade right now, I would actually go into tourism. I think it's got great potential for growth right now, especially right now. Although obviously it also has its drawbacks in case we do ever end up in the same situation. But in general, and it was a really good job because, like, besides the long weekends, because I was in like a tourist hotspot. I worked at the Radium Hot Springs Information Center, and on the long weekends it was always a nightmare because it was like people would drive in without reservations, and there's a limited supply of hotel rooms, and those were the worst weekends because it was just like nuts. I actually ended up booking rooms for people and sending them another 3 hours away because that was the closest hotel room that we knew of available. So it was like, all right, I'm booking you a room in Revelstoke. Keep driving. It's not what you want to do as an information counselor. Your whole job is to keep the people in the town longer, but it was just like on long weekends you had no choice. It's like, get out of town, please. Your hotel reservation is north. Anyway, I really enjoyed that job. And then like the closest I ever came to retail is actually selling during like as a cashier at the university bookstore during like fall rush, I guess you would qualify it as. And then as an usher at theaters, actually, at the university. And that one was nice because it was super casual. It was like short shifts, build your own schedule sort of stuff, and you would end up just working what you could. So it was nice, like just pocket money basically to like, I don't know, go out with friends and stuff like that. Super cute fabric as well. So I did the navy version. Actually, I was sewing the handle. That's what I was doing. It was super cute. Eldest child's summer camps have come to an end, so now I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm going to do on like the Tuesday and Thursday when they're home. I guess there'll be a lot of TV daycare for September, and that's fine. They'll still be going, so the eldest will still be going Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Unfortunately, my youngest stay home had to pull a day, so they were going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but they had to pull a day because unfortunately, basically, they were taking a full-time spot. Yeah, I'm glad you caught me too. I am not going to be too far behind you. I'm just going to see what I can get done. So I hope you have an awesome night, and I'll be back on tomorrow night. We're going to be here all month. Anyway, so the youngest, they had to drop a day because it was like they were there on the Wednesday, which was awesome over the summer, at least. But by not having that day, the day home operator was unfortunately not able to take full-time kids. Basically, they had like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And who needs a week without a Wednesday, basically? So we've shuffled care a little bit. I'm debating, we were going to move the youngest to the actual preschool that my eldest is at later in the year, or like early 24, but I'm wondering if we should maybe just do it a little bit earlier. I haven't decided yet because the youngest is really enjoying the day home, and I feel actually even kind of bad moving them in the new year, but I'm like, I need to simplify my drop-off pickup times. And honestly, so the preschool is open at like 7:30, and the day home is open at 8, but that means effectively I don't get the eldest dropped off to the preschool until about 8:30. So I would like, that's like an extra hour that would be nice to regain. Although I 100%, so last night I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to bed early, and then I'll get up early, and I'll go for my run early. Andrea, it did not happen. It didn't happen. Well, the run happened, but the whole early thing did not happen. Is it a big surprise? No. I don't know. I can already tell I'm fading tonight, so I'll probably be, I think I'm going to do another half hour. I'll log off around midnight my time tonight. Just because I don't have to set an alarm tomorrow, but having some extra sleep would be nice. And the kids have gotten to the point in this summer schedule right now that they're up at like 6:30 in the morning, 6:45 in the morning, pretty much no matter what. Actually, they slept. I know, it was a good thought, right? It was a good try. I still got them. We went for Starbucks this morning because I was just like, that'll save me some time. So I'll just pick up breakfast. So I got the youngest dropped off right at 8 o'clock, which was perfect. And then that meant that the eldest was still actually earlier than they have been for the past week. So good try. Well, I still got my run done. I had to stop early though because I really had to use the washroom. I'm just like, I was passing by the porta potties and I was like, I have 12 minutes left. I'm not gonna make it. So I cut the run short, which is fine. It was a maintenance run anyway, so it's not like it was like, basically what it is doing is just making sure that your body's still running. It's not like it's really doing much more than that. Although on Monday I am going to put up my distance, just kind of help the plantar fasciitis, do a little bit more volume load. It's called, I guess, I don't know. I guess the term for it is volume. Which is so weird. But most Mondays are a really short run. They're like 3 miles, about 5 kilometers. So I'm gonna add another mile to that and run like, I don't know. I'll probably aim for about 6.5 kilometers. We'll see how far I go. Probably 6.5. Because I think 4 miles would ended up being like 6.4 kilometers. So I'll do probably do 6.5K. Alright, let's see. I don't even know how many zippers I've installed. That's okay, but it would be nice to know, because we know how many bags we need to sew for Paula, at least. It's something like, what, 44? 33? Has to be around the 30s mark. Oh, that went too far for that stitch, that seam. Curses. That's why I've been marking it back. So basically what I'm marking is like the little fold, so that where I can install the ribbon is marked a little bit easier, and a little bit easier to like sew across the zipper in that area and stuff. So I'm just gonna rip it back a little bit and we'll go back in and seal it up with some stitching. Yeah, anyway, it has to be around 40. Because I think there's something like 33 different prints or something like that. I think that's how many kata there are. So. Okay. Come on. There we go. Of course, I had to back stitch it before I thought of it. There. Yeah, that was quite a ways up. Okay. Mark it onto the lining that's peeking out, because that's the only way I'm going to tell myself to actually stop. I think it's supposed to be getting super hot again tomorrow too, so we like went cooler. What is it supposed to be tomorrow? Yeah, warmer tomorrow with a high of 26. Good thing is that I've actually got way more, or I've got a lot of work for my friend on Sunday, and if it's a little bit warmer, it'll be nicer to sit outside and do that work anyway, so that's good. I've got work for me to do. I'm gonna singe all the ends on the knot bags just to like tidy up all the little clippy insect antenna cuts that always end up happening. I usually take those scissors and I'm like zip, but it still just doesn't get close enough. Maybe if I had like curved scissors or something like that, but honestly, fire. We'll just burn them off. And it'll help set the seam a little bit too, because basically I use polyester thread. So it's going to melt the thread, which will help set it in the seam very well. So at least that's the story I'm sticking to, not the fact that I actually want to play with the lighter. My lighter's cool. I went and actually got a Zippo because I was using the Bic lighters, but they were really hard on my hands and these were the easy light ones too, so it was like a thumb click, but wasn't meant to be. I didn't want, it's way too many. Like I went through probably about 1.5 in like 3 days when I was making like singeing the ends of my webbing and stuff like that. So I'm just like, no, that's not cool. And went and got a Zippo. Now I learned, of course I learned after the fact that there's actually hot knives for webbing. So that might be something I have to look into purchasing later on this year. Because it would singe the webbing for the big bags so nicely. It would make my life faster. I would still need the lighter anyway for the threading, so it's not a waste. I'm just trying to talk myself into a hot knife, basically. Hot knife. It's like a rope cutter. And it's like, does the cutting and the actual like melting at the same time, so it just seals the end off, which I feel like is a brilliant idea. There are a lot of bags left on that chair. Oh, hi, okay. You haven't been cut yet. That tells me we've done about 4, maybe 5. So yeah, well, main part of what took up a lot of time tonight is that I was actually sewing handles, which need to be done too. I will not be posting video of myself turning handles. That is something else I will do on Sunday, because I have filmed myself turning handles before, and because the device is a turning tube, it's this, it was far more salacious than I wish to post of myself on the internet. Because basically what you do is you shove the fabric around the tip of this dowel piece, and then you like shove it. This even is probably too far. But anyway, you put it in the tube. You put the dowel, put the dowel in the tube with the fabric wrapped around it, and then you like shove the fabric through, and it turns your tube for you. It's far easier. It is the only way to do it, really. You could do it with like a bodkin that clips on it, I think, or something like that, but I've tried and it's way too hard. But the filming of it is also just, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that live. I'll do that on Sunday. That's part of what I can do. I will singe threads and do my salacious handle turning work. We have banana cat bags coming up here. This is super cute fabric. Wish I'd actually gotten more while I was there, because it has been popular with the wholesalers. So I don't know if I've actually sold one outside of wholesale, because they all snapped up the fabric, which is awesome. But it doesn't mean I don't think I've had anything for retail. I think I might have a Kato or something like that for retail. We'll see. Kato box is still unexplored. I don't even know what's in there right now. Alright. Obviously though, these will all be available through Baaad Anna's as well. So if there's something that's caught your eyes, message Paula and be like, hey, Katie sent me over to buy this bag. Because she said that you were the one who bought it. Now, I don't know if some of these may make it into personal stash or not. That's obviously up to them, but I'm sure you could send them a message and they might be able to accommodate a special request. And they also have an online shop, so it's not like they're unfamiliar with shipping out of the shop as well. I've definitely bought Yarn Enabler yarn from them. So, socks that I've been knitting on since November. Oh well, I need to pick my knitting back up here soon, or embroidery. Who knows? One of the two. I did open one of my kits today, and it was actually pre-printed, so that is like one step in the right direction, because it means I don't have to transfer a pattern. I've got another absolutely spectacular hand embroidery kit from Mount Robson. It's created by Angie's Art, and like it is gorgeous, and I am excited, but I have to transfer the pattern, and just that extra step is just like the barrier right now. It's staying in my drawer. It's patient again. Thread's not going to go bad in the amount of time I'm going to hold on to it. The fabric's not gonna go bad. The instructions won't change because they're the same stitches that they have been for centuries. So I think it can wait a little bit longer. But I'm excited for, I might actually try the other one for a bit just to see, just to do something else with my hands other than like mindlessly scroll or play mobile games. Not that there's anything wrong with mobile games. They're productive for your brain in other ways. I just want to be doing something more crafty. Something craftier. Once my kids are less of a puncture concern, then I will definitely be knitting more. There's so many cute sweaters I want to be knitting them, and it's just like, actually, now is the time to start knitting the cute sweaters because they've gotten out of that like very rapid growth spurt phase. Like, look at them and they'll have grown out of something in 30 seconds sort of grow phase. So I'm not doing that anymore. So I think now is a good time to maybe start actually knitting them stuff. Who knows? Our eldest, actually they're both going to be good for like the next round of rides when we go to Disney, which is super exciting and kind of sad. I feel like that's something that people are really hard at describing, is it's like, because they're always like, enjoy every moment because time goes so fast and all of that, and it's like, don't wish away all that. And it's like, I get it because it's bittersweet, right? It's like you want to celebrate those accomplishments, and at the same time you're like, oh, we're past that now. Sweet, which embroidery kits have you picked up? The one so I've got the Angel's Art one, and then the one that's pre-printed is, oh, I recycled the packaging, but it's a floral one. I think it's Florals and Floss. They're out of Edmonton. And I picked it up at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic in November. Like, one of the only purchases I made was actually for, no, never mind. I went very bad in Comfy Cozy Knits because she's got self-striping yarn. I forgot about that. Like, probably did half the damage just in her booth that I've done at Knit City in the past. So I'm gonna have to have a good look at my yarn stash right now, because it's like, I gotta figure out what, if anything, I'm purchasing at Knit City. And like, I need to be more conservative this year than I have been in the past. Just, I gotta go in with a plan. Not necessarily conservative. I think I at least want to go get a sweaters quantity, but I don't even know what sweater I'd knit right now. Last time we were in Victoria, which was last August, I did go to the Beehive and I picked up yarn to make another calligraphy cardigan. Calligraphy cardigan by Hannah Fettig. I've knitted in the past. It was like one of the first sweaters I knit before I really understood anything about sweater knitting. So I want to like, and it's kind of cute. I bought the yarn on our first trip to Victoria together. It was the trip that Dallas actually proposed on. So that's the nice part of it. But it's like super tight in the sweater or in the sleeves and stuff like that. So I just need to reknit it. I got an absolutely spectacular teal color and buttons to match. So, not buttons to match. They are kind of contrast buttons, but they're like, they'll complement the sweater. There we go. Not matching, complementing. But yeah, it's actually one of my favorite sweaters, but I don't wear it. Like, I love the collar on the calligraphy cardigan. It's one of those sweaters that was like really popular with podcasters back when podcasts were like big. Like what I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. It's like vlogging, live streaming. I guess this is live, like this counts as live streaming, but like, yeah, I have evolved into a different form, like a Pokemon. I just, right now, I couldn't sit down and actually record a podcast. I don't knit enough, and I'm not producing enough finished works to like podcast about the business. So the live stream actually makes the most sense. But it's just like, what am I now? A live streamer? It also feels weird because it's like Twitch is where you kind of expect to see it, but I'm doing it on YouTube. Like, I don't know. I don't think, at the same time, I don't think it really matters. It's just more of a curiosity thing, right? So, but hopefully, well, I'm gonna do a little bit more formal sit-down podcast to do like a preview for Knit City this time, because I haven't done a preview for Knit City for the past few years. Well, I guess for obvious reasons. There hasn't really been a Knit City. Last year would have been... I couldn't have done it 2 years ago because the kids were too little. I couldn't really do it last year because, again, the kids were too little. And we were still... The house was in such uproar from moving. That was more just like, okay, get the studio set and then I've got to sew. It's all I got to do is gotta be able to reach my fabric and I got to be able to cut it and sew it. And that's what the actual, like... setup was last year. I'm still finessing it, obviously. So, as I keep talking about the fact that I'm still finessing it, I want to do a studio tour. That's part why I keep bringing it up. Is I'm like, maybe I can get myself to do it if I keep talking about it, but it hasn't worked yet. Maybe if I promise more people, I'll just disappoint more people. It'll happen one day, but it's just like not. This is not the summer of it. So maybe that'll be a goal for the new year. Is it's like post Dopey challenge. I gotta come home and I gotta get my sewing studio set so I can do a tour of how it is in 2024. The beginning of 2024. Should almost do it like a shot of it every month next year and like how it evolves every single month, because usually it does change every single month. At least something. Okay, we're cranking along on these bags pretty good, to be honest. Sweet. Although the zippers on these aren't. Oh. Weird. You'd think that they would, like, give you the name of the pattern at least. Oh. I think mine is, like, funky, folksy, floral. Something like that. Maybe, actually, you know, I'll go in and find a link for it for you. Or at least the name for it, if I can find it. What did I say? It was like something like florals and floss. Oh yeah, there it is. Florals and floss embroidery. Ooh, she's got strawberries. Those are super cute right now. Alright, don't get distracted. I do not need to shop for more embroidery kits when I haven't even done what I've got. The other thing I do like about the kit though is that she actually, so it's got the printed fabric, but then it's also got the actual, ooh, she's got one that's called the Stitcher, and it's like a tarot card. Okay, anyway, you should go check out her site. I'll type it in to the chat once I'm done looking. But she's printed had it printed on the fabric, and then she's actually provided the pattern itself too, so you could copy it somewhere else and do it again if you'd like. Alright, so the one I got was Folky Florals. Yeah, okay, I guess that would make more sense that they would just have it then. Well, she's also got like a window cat intermediate. The main reason that I got this Folky Florals is that apparently it's like it actually includes a whole stitch guide and everything like that. Anyway, it's super cute. I'll throw her shop in the chat here on YouTube. So it's Florals and Floss. And it's just floralsandfloss.com. It's just that YouTube won't let me actually post a link, obviously. But I got the Folky Florals, and like, it's probably fairly expensive for what's actually included in the kit, but it's cute. And I probably can get like 2 or 3 out of the amount of thread that she gave me too. But if you go and look, I really want to do the strawberry printed fabric now. I also really like the Stitcher. It's the tarot card one. And then she's got one on there as well of the window cat. I like that she sells the printed fabric separate from the actual kit, so that's really nice. So if you can like source your thread cheaper, or if you've got leftover thread from other projects, I guess you could just use it for that printed fabric, so that's nice. I also like the actual printed fabric because then, like I said, I don't have to take the, Like, it's that just, it removes that step of like having to trace a pattern onto the fabric for me. Now, have I sat down and stitched it all since November? No. I don't think I actually clued into the fact that it was like printed on already, to be honest. Come here, my strawberries and bees, you gotta go on. I don't know why, I'm like super into the fruit stuff right now. So like when we're in Japan, there's a ton of strawberry fabrics and raspberry fabrics of all things. I got some fabric to make. I think I'm gonna make a bucket hat for my eldest because they're, or maybe like a top or something. I only got a yard, so I don't have much. But when we made like our announcement, they were a size of a raspberry, and we were down at Disney World, and it was like they were so demanding. The nickname for the first while was Demanding Raspberry, because they were being so demanding for being the size of a raspberry. It was weird stuff like I couldn't run easily. Like it felt weird. My body already felt weird. Like, and I was only 8 weeks pregnant at that point, and like the cold or the water in the pool was like really cold, even though it was like totally temperate. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And like both my kids, because I'm long torsoed, at least my eldest is also very long torsoed. I'm pretty sure my youngest is as well. And sleeves are always just short. So I think, yeah, that's something I'll definitely do. Actually, that's a good point. Actually, one of the ones I want to knit is the Bloomsbury. I would love to knit myself one. So maybe that's something that I'll look for yarn for while I'm there. Should actually go look at my Ravelry queue. It has been so long since I've even been on Ravelry. But that would be a good indicator of like yarn I would probably want to buy still. Or maybe I'll take a look at like what Taya Coleman's been putting out recently or something like that, because I usually like her sweaters. Although I don't think I want to tackle a big cable knit right now either at the same time. So I'll probably do, that's the nice thing about the calligraphy cardigan by Hannah Fettig, is that it's just like the fancy part is the collar. I think is it knit first? I can't remember, but it's like raglan construction, which is like the best construction for my shoulders. It fits me the best. I think it's probably because like I'm also wide, like I'm broad in the shoulder. Don't actually know. I should probably measure. That would help me fit stuff, you know. But I think the raglan just also adds that little bit of stretch right over the top instead of like the set-in sleeve not sitting on the shoulder line correctly. Yeah, they like get what I call the grow belly. So they'll get the big belly and then they'll sprout. But yeah, I've even noticed that with like the actual clothes, is that they don't get very wide very fast. They always are just getting longer. But we just got my eldest a new swimsuit, and we're gonna have to get them another new one here soon, because the swimsuit doesn't even like cover the swim diaper or anything like that at this point. Like it fits. It's fine. But if they grow again at all, it's not fitting. So that's gonna be interesting, because we'll need one for January, and it's like, where the heck? Like, I don't want to buy it until much closer now. So where the heck do you buy a kid's bathing suit in January? I guess we could buy it when we're down at Disney World. That might actually be the best solution, is to buy it when we're down there. Haha. That might be a problem solved. Okay. Although I still don't know where you would buy kids' bathing suits down there. Oh, we'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure the water parks have swimsuits, but it's kind of, would be nice to have one before we went to the water parks, if we go to the water parks. And we would need it for the like on-resort pool. Oh, hello. Why are you cranky? Okay, fine. Oh, when the machine starts fighting back, that's a good Yeah, I've been looking online. I know. It's just that, like, the Carter's stuff fits them the best. And they're all on sale right now. But I'm also trying to be very conscious of, like, there's those certain colors that show up well in the pool. And a lot of the suits this year are not in those colors. I don't know. So maybe I'll just order it closer to, and that might help too. I'm just like, I would really like to buy it on sale right now. Since we did just buy another one, like one that fits for now. Who knows? Maybe it will fit in a couple months too. Like, they could have a grow belly right now. They'll grow taller because it's not like the height that's the problem on the suit. It's the bum. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just have to look one a little bit closer to the date. Alright, I think we're gonna do this. Oh my goodness, sorry, I keep bumping the camera or the phone because it's like right here. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna sew the sheep bag and then I am going to head to bed before I get too wobbly in my stories. But the current plan is that I will be back on tomorrow night around this same time, the 9:30 to 10 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, approximately. Right now it's midnight, or close to, it's 5:02. And then on Monday I will be online in the afternoon for sure. And then I think Monday night I'll be tidying up the house. So, just a complete house reset. So I may or may, no, I will not be on Monday night, but I will be on Monday afternoon. So, I'll finish up the zipper and then I will say our good nights. Just so I don't start to push over, because it's honestly, I am no longer set up to be up till like 1 or 1:30 sewing. I might be up till 1 or 1:30 scrolling TikTok, but that's completely different. Ooh, that's a good idea. Look at the secondhand stores. Or actually, so we get a lot of hand-me-downs from my eldest from a neighbor that we used to live by, because they had a little one that would wear the same clothes, and then their second one won't. And so we are getting a lot of hand-me-downs from them, and I wonder if their kiddo will have gone through another growth spurt and there might be a bathing suit in the set of clothes there. I should just ask them. We don't even live by them anymore, but they've actually dropped stuff off at our new location because it's just the deal. And so in exchange, I bought them some nice stuff for their little one, and now it's actually been hand-me-down to us again, which was maybe a little bit of the nefarious part of it, but it was also just kind of like, not payback. That sounds evil. Reciprocation? I don't know. Anyway, the amount that I paid for a nicer outfit for their little one was definitely like returned 4 or 5-fold. Although I get it. It's like you get all of this stuff for babies, especially the clothes. Especially when they're so young. There's just so many clothes. We're holding on to a bunch of stuff because we have friends that might be having, well, the plan is that they want to be having a baby in the next little bit. So we're keeping a hold of stuff for them for now, just in case they need or want anything. But if they kind of cross the threshold in the next couple of years of not being pregnant, we'll pass it on to someone else. Although it's been like a blessing and a curse with having them so close together. So they're only 11 months apart, and it's like awesome because they like, you don't have to keep the stuff around for very long. But it's like if friends want it, then it's gone. So it's kind of like we're just hanging on to a few things. It's not much. It's not like anything super big, or that can't be packed down easily. Just gonna make sure. Oh no. That one needs to be scooted up a little bit because I ended up with the selvage in the seam. So I will fix that tomorrow now. Alright, I'm gonna head out before I get, like I said, a little bit too more wobbly in my like storytelling because it's getting late. I hope you guys all have a fantastic night, and I will be back on tomorrow night to chat and sew more. I'm probably starting off with that sheep bag because I don't know how much sewing I'll actually get done with the kids home tomorrow. So hope you guys all have a fantastic night, and I will chat with you all soon. Thanks so much, and have an awesome,